I always really wanted to be gifted. Did you grow up with that, or were you always labeled as, oh, she's special already, and so you understood the gifted?
I'm more and more interested in the idea of gifted and what it means, because it is a label that comes from society and that can come for just being an aberration that is there from the fact that children are different and good at different things. So what I was interested in is this idea that if you're good at maths, especially I felt growing up, I was born in India but grew up in Wales, and suddenly being in the UK, and if you're suddenly good at maths and you're a kid, which I was, but no great shakes, just good at mental arithmetic, not really anything deep, then these kinds of associations, words like gifted or words like prodigy or genius, they weren't applied to me, but I saw them around generally for people who are good at maths. And I think if you suddenly land in on that and focus that and nurture it or hothouse it or accelerate the learning process in that area, then in the old debate of nature and nurture, who's to say, you know, we couldn't all be, inverted commas, gifted. So I don't know if you really want to be a Wimberkin waiting to happen, because it's imposed upon you maybe from outside.
Tell me about her family situation.
Well, the thing about Rumi is that she finds a way for herself, but also the parents have to find some kind of way, because the family situation is like any family. You kind of create your own morality as a family, because there are not always guidelines as to how to behave or what is correct. And this is much more intensified for them because they've left a certain set of rules in India and they've come to the UK. They don't necessarily want to adopt. Who's to say that the way in which things are being lived is the correct way at a slant, you know? So they want to create something themselves, like any family, which is a code for living. And who's to say that what they do is wrong and what's outside is right?
There's a very amusing / horrible scene where she meets some other child prodigies who are now no longer children. Tell me about that scene.
Well, Rumi goes to a convention for giftedness, something like that, and she has a badge saying that she's a prodigy who's at Oxford studying maths with her age on it, and she's a current prodigy, and she meets some other current prodigies and has-beens, and that scene is about her in context of the time, and I think we had a lot of fascination then in the UK with prodigies who were around. I know I did when I was growing up. It's about that, but also it's the beginning of Rumi's rebellion becoming actual fact, tangible, because she sets herself slightly apart from these people, just minorly, just in a very subtle few gestures, and she sort of watches them and is in conflict because she's wanted it. She's wanted to be gifted, wanted to be a prodigy, wanted to be famous, wanted to be in the paper for so long, just like you might want to be a pop star. And then suddenly she's there, she's arrived, and she stands back suddenly. And it's quite a significant point in the book, because it's also a moment where she's about to hunt down romance. So it's pivotal.
Talk about the seed eating, the spice eating habit she has.
Rumi eats cumin seeds because it's kind of an obsessive compulsive thing, but it's unnamed as that because it's just what it is in the book, which is something private and shameful and obsessive compulsive without it ever being taken out and named and kind of identified in that way. So it's about a private means of control, but it doesn't start out that way. It starts out with her just experimenting with eating cumin seeds, and then it becomes an addiction that she can't quite shake off, so there's a loss of control. And I suppose they are an Indian spice, and they take on a new meaning when they start to impede things, like prevent her from doing certain things, or where she's held ransom by them.
She goes through basically everything that a cokehead or a crack addict or an alcoholic goes through. But it's human season. It's just, it's very funny.
I think that overlap between tragic and absurd long interested me, so I love that stuff, to be honest.
Because the whole book is that.
But that's great that you say that, because that is what I admire and what I am drawn to when there's tragedy, but also it's so funny, and also it's absurd and then so sad, and you're in this circular thing where depending on the mood that you come to a certain scene in, you might laugh out loud or cry.
A really good job with the first novel. I was very impressed, and I think you're going to be interviewing you a lot over the years. That's a good thing.
Oh, thank you very much. That would be lovely.
The book is Gifted. I've been speaking with the author, Nikita Lalwani, and Gifted is published by Bond Street Books, distributed in Canada by Random House.